This podcast is brought to you by Avocado Mattress. And if healthy, comfortable sleep matters to you, this is one organic brand worth knowing. That's because what you sleep on actually matters.
Most mattresses rely on synthetic foams and chemical materials that trap heat, break down over time, or off-gas. Avocado does it differently. Their mattresses are handcrafted with natural materials: organic latex, organic wool, and organic cotton. Designed to be naturally cooling, incredibly supportive, and long-lasting. They're certified organic by GOTS and meet multiple non-toxic and safety certifications. Made for people who care about their health and the environment without sacrificing comfort. I love that Avocado proves you don't have to choose between comfortable, supportive sleep and your values. And now you can get up to 15% off all Avocado mattresses. Just go to avocadogreenmattress.com. Get up to 15% off at avocadogreenmattress.com. avocadogreenmattress.com.
In postseason football, you need to find that extra gear. On FanDuel, it's called playoff mode. Flipping the switch on the FanDuel app can flip the script on the entire season. Big boosts, more rewards than ever. And introducing Drive SGP, an entirely new way to live parlay any drive and bet at the speed of football. This season, everyone makes the playoffs, and FanDuel is making them even more awesome. Turn on playoff mode, only on FanDuel.
New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Phillies Therapy. The offseason continues. We are reaching the latter stages of January. Here we record on the evening of January 20th, following earlier this afternoon, the reintroduction of JT Realmuto as the Phillies starting catcher. JT and the Phillies, of course, agreed to a 3-year, $45 million deal over the weekend with escalators built in there for incentives. And everybody was just all happy and understood that this is just part of the business, right? Everybody was fine with how things went down. Everybody was totally cool with being everybody else's plan B until they needed to be plan A again. Everybody was jilted until they decided they needed one another. And here we are as January gets ready to wrap up, exactly where we thought we were going to be back in early November, more or less. But the path has wound a far more interesting path. And here to talk a little bit about that with me and to think, all right, we're at a point where we can probably take stock of the Phillies' entire offseason. We don't expect any more significant moves at this point. I guess we've been wrong before on that account. But we don't expect any more significant moves at this point. And it feels like a safe time to take a step back, to look at this roster and situation in the division from as far up a view as you'd like to take, and think about whether the Phillies are actually really any better than they were last year. And maybe a companion question to that: how much better did they need to get? We'll dig into that a little bit more. To help me do that, here is my co-host. He is, of course, the Phillies beat writer for The Athletic. He is Matt Gelb. Matt, good evening. Good Tuesday evening. Welcome in. You had the joy and honor of being on that not at all awkward Zoom call to reintroduce JT as the Phillies catcher for the next 3 years. It really just does kind of feel like the last few weeks have been weird with this team, with communication, with handling of negotiations and situations. It just kind of seems a little bit of a turbulent ride. And I guess it all culminated in this call to say, oh yeah, JT's back on a 3-year deal. Let's celebrate that while kind of ignoring how we all got here.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it was one of the weirder, free agent reintroductions or introductions, whatever you want to call it, that I think I've been a part of. And nobody was really ignoring, though, how they came to reuniting. I mean, there was very much an acknowledgement that there was a good chance this wasn't going to happen as soon as, I don't know, what, 4 days ago. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I think it's a weird one, and I don't know that it should be. I guess I don't think it should be held against JT Realmuto, who we all agree um, is not the player he once was. Might not have been worth a 3-year contract, uh, but still, remained a good fit for the Phillies and is a productive and important and valuable catcher and piece of this roster. I think the circumstances of them getting to uh, this day were, are going to color how people feel about the whole thing. And I guess uh, I wouldn't conflate that with how you look at Real Muto, because I think there's real evaluations to be made, and even I thought JT was rather candid about how he has just not been the kind of player he expects the last few seasons. And of course, the natural follow up is like, well, he's about to turn 35. Like, what if anything would make you think that he could recapture some of the old? And maybe he won't, and maybe the answer is by playing a little less. I don't know, but they're going to pay him 3 and 45, and it's a pretty significant pay cut from what he was making,
Mhm.
and that's even with the Phillies bumping up the offer. But he goes from making $23 million a year to 15, which is a pretty big pay cut. So it's reflective of, I think, the diminishing uh, value, but that there's still a value. I thought what Dave Dombrowski said about Bo Bichette was, again, candid, honest. I think there's two sides to this whole thing. Like, I don't know. There's been a lot of reporting. I think that the Phillies um, had a deal. Like, they did not have a deal. Like, they
Mm,
didn't have a deal.
mm,
Did they think they were going to have a deal? Yes,
mm.
they did. They did not have a deal. They did not have a verbal. There was none of this. I don't. I think I would push back on the idea that, like, they got to a certain number and that, like, that was it. There was going to be a deal. I don't think that's the case. Did they think there was going to be a deal, and was there reasons to believe that there was going to be a deal? Yes, totally. Um, do I understand why Bo Bichette backed out and took the essentially 1 year, $47 million deal? Yeah, I do. And
Yeah.
are we all going to be? I feel like I got bad news for you, Paul, because guess what? Bo Bichette's going to be a free agent most likely again next
Yeah,
offseason,
right.
and
Run it back.
I fully expect the Phillies to be involved again next
Yeah.
offseason.
Why not, right? The situation is gonna be even more conducive to bringing him in by that point.
Correct. And I was looking this up. I mean, he will be, uh, again, even a year after his first free agency, he's going to be one of the youngest free agents. He will be the youngest free agent position player as of now on the market next year,
Man. Yeah, it's a great spot to be in.
which is why he took the 1 year, $47 million
Exactly.
deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's a lot of mending of fences to be done. And I think the way
Yeah.
that the Phillies essentially did that with Real Muto was uh, after telling his camp earlier in the week that, hey, we're moving on. When all of a sudden they needed to come back to him, they were like, by the way, we need to sign you again, and now we're gonna up the offer, and we'll give you 3 times 15,
Yeah.
and we'll give you the opportunity to get 20 million a year, through various, uh, most likely unreachable awards bonuses. And if he is reaching those, then you'll gladly be writing the check because it
Sure.
means
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
he's having a tremendous season. So whether you think that's good business or not, probably not great business, but also, like, they were kind of, I mean, like, they got to the point where they thought they were going to have a deal, and they had to go to Real Muto's camp and be upfront and be like, we're moving on. And I don't know. I mean, it's not just with Real Muto though. I mean, I think that there is a fatigue, right? I mean, and it's not, I don't think it's just like
Mm,
a social media thing. Like, I think there's generally, yes, like a fatigue about this roster, this franchise. Like,
yeah.
and I get it. But I do think, Paul, like you said, I mean, this is a decent time, I think, to take a few steps back and try to figure out what exactly do we think about what they've accomplished this offseason, and maybe you can even combine it with last offseason because
Yeah, maybe.
everything they said last offseason was like, well, it's sort of a we're not signing guys to multi-year deals. This is sort of a bridge offseason to get us to a better spot with our roster. We need to get younger players, and
You got
that
to
didn't
give good
happen.
players, get good players, right? More or less.
So I just have a hard time squaring all this, right? I mean, I think that many things can be true. Like, I think they are a good team. I think they should be favorites to win the division. I think they should be up there with contenders to win the World Series. And I also still sit here on January 20th feeling just like slightly underwhelmed,
Mm.
especially in certain spots. And I'm not saying that uh, I wouldn't have offered Bo Bichette the deal that the Mets offered. So like
Well, yeah.
I get where they were at. I mean, could they have been a little more aggressive in the Bichette contract? Maybe. I still would have a lot of like the problems I have with their roster, Paul, wouldn't have been solved by Bo Bichette. So uh
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, like I think at our recent pod, you and I were like giving out grades, or we're thinking about like what would you think of the offseason? I think I said like C plus. You said like B minus. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm still at.
Yeah.
And this doesn't change it. It really doesn't. Like, because I actually
No, it
think that
shouldn't.
this was is this something they should actually? I was asked this by somebody I trust from another team who just help forces me to think about things, which I appreciate. I like talking baseball with you. I like talking baseball with other people in the sport, and it's just fun, right? And he said, well, like, what if they would have made Bichette a priority right away in the offseason? And I said it's an interesting thought, but I also think that Bichette was going to wait all along. Like, I don't think it would have mattered. Like, I think that even if they were aggressive early in the offseason with Bichette, uh, it would have either resulted in them paying even more or probably just like ending up in the same spot because he would have waited to sign.
I agree with that. I also find myself thinking, like, the Phillies dodged a huge bullet because that detail that came out in your story today about how the Phillies had contacted JT's representative saying, like, "Hey, we're going to move on. This isn't going to
Oh,
happen."
could you imagine?
And what if, because there was reported interest, it may have been real, it may not have been. I'm sure some other teams might have checked in. At the very least, JT's representation probably would have been like, okay, we got to regroup and see what else is out there over the next
Quickly.
couple of days. Right. Boston and Tampa Bay were rumored to have interest. Maybe there were some other teams out there. Who knows? We'll probably know the full scope of it. But what if there had been a plan B offer out there? The Phillies were like, all right, we're moving on. And JT took that.
Immediately takes it. Right.
And then the Phillies get stiff armed. Like, that bullet is dodged. I know that only goes so far to really kind of smooth over what has been a very rough patch in the offseason the last couple of weeks, but it could have been a whole lot worse. And I think that you and I are at a point where, yes, it is time to step back and look at this full roster, look at this full offseason with some small moves we can anticipate to come between now and pitchers and catchers reporting, but to think about this offseason a little bit more holistically and look at the team and where it stands right now, not just as a function of itself, right? But as a part of this environment, as a part of this division, as a part of this league, as a part of the chase to dethrone the Dodgers, because somebody's eventually got to do it. The Dodgers are really good
You
again.
sure about that?
I mean, I am not sure about that. It challenges everything I thought about the playoff format that the Dodgers, after they got past the Phillies, made it look relatively easy. The Jays put up a good fight, but it still almost felt inevitable. Like, I wasn't super shocked when Miguel Rojas hit that home run. I'm going
You
off on
weren't
a weird
surprised by
tangent.
that?
I only a little.
That was pretty shocking.
Only a little, yeah. But the Phillies now enter 2026 with some new faces. Some old familiar faces are lost. Of course, Ranger Suarez, for example, goes to Boston. But largely, they are once again returning the same core that they have had the last couple of years with some
If my math
changes
is
along
right,
the edge. What's that?
if my math is right,
Mhm.
as currently constructed, and I'm not counting Nick Castellanos because he will not be back.
Who?
and I know people keep having to report this over and over again, but I stand by what I wrote. 1 week into the offseason, he will be traded or released.
Mm.
So not counting him right now, okay, just trying to factor in what they're returning. I
Yeah.
have them returning roughly 77% of the plate appearances they took last year.
That feels like a really big number.
It's not as big as it was the previous offseason.
Was it really? It's shorter. Wow. Okay.
Oh, I'll look, but I think it was an absurd retention from 24 to 25.
That would be an interesting
Uh,
thing to look at year over year across different teams, like how
That's
much
very hard to
turnover
do,
there
but
is. Yeah.
uh, I just know that it's high. I mean,
Yeah.
no, they are not running it back. Like, as in, like, it's not the same exact roster as it was last year, but they are retaining roughly 77% of the plate appearances that they took last year.
Hmm. Well, and then it begs the question now, right? The thing that we've been kind of teasing and we'll get into now. Are the Phillies better? And how much better did they need to get? Of course, the Phillies won the division last year, and they won the division comfortably. They won 96 games. They were 13 games clear of the Mets. The Braves, who you expect to be better than they were last year, were 20 games back. The Marlins finished ahead of them. And all the Marlins traded for Bradley Blaylock today. Like, I don't really know what the Marlins are doing. Ever Cabrera's out to the Cubs. They're clearly not buying that they're on an upward swing. Whatever, they're the Marlins. You expected to be the Phillies, the Mets, and the Braves in the top three in the East, assuming the Braves don't have another nightmare injury season. All that being said, how much better did the Phillies need to get? We have 77% of the plate appearances from last year coming back. There's been an upgrade of sorts in the outfield. Adding Adolis Garcia is, I think, unquestionably a defensive upgrade. Offensively, we'll see if he's actually...
Okay, well, what do you want? What would you rather have? Would you rather have Marsh, Bader, Kepler? Assuming that, Max Kepler hadn't taken PEDs.
Yeah.
Or Marsh, Crawford, Garcia. Or okay, not even what would you rather have? How much difference is there between the two units?
I think what the current setup offers you, that being Marsh, Crawford, Garcia.
I guess you could do Marsh, Bader, Castellanos.
No thanks. I think what the current setup offers
Kepler's
you,
suspended, so I'm gonna let's
sure.
Either one. You can pick whatever one you want, but last year's ending outfield as opposed to the one that they're going to go into this year with.
No, I want the current one.
Yeah,
the current one offers me. It offers me, I think, more. I'll say upside, but I think what I really mean is a form of hope that there is unrealized.
There's more upside,
value, potential, something like
I think that's right. No, there's more upside.
Yeah, there is something there that I think while the floor could definitely be lower, like we don't know what Justin Crawford's going to be. He continues to be polarizing for
Correct.
Many different reasons, but he could be good. And I think that could be is something that tantalizes more than can Harrison Bader replicate his like 480 BABIP or whatever he had with the Phillies. And the answer is probably not.
Correct.
Adolis Garcia, he should be fun for a few plate appearances. I don't know how close he'll get to recapturing his.
He should be fun for a few plate appearances. Like, what happens when he has to take 550?
Right. Like, that's the thing. I don't know how I'm going to weight the.
What would you rather spend $10 million on? 2025 Max Kepler or 2026 Adolis Garcia?
Assuming no suspension, I would have thought seriously about Kepler again. I would have. I'm biting my
really?
fingers.
No.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm saying separate that. I'm saying what you knew about Kepler a year ago right now and what you know about Garcia right now. Who would you rather spend $10 million on? Like, who's got the better chances of an quote unquote impact bounce back? And I think it's Garcia. I do.
Maybe, but at the same time,
Kepler's floor was higher than Garcia's because Garcia could just be. Well, Garcia's a good defender.
They're
very comparable.
Well, look, I think at this point last year, I was talking myself into the idea that Kepler was compromised in 2024 by an injury that was patched up by surgery, right? The core muscle, something that probably sapped his power, right? You knew this guy was a competent all around defender. Even if they were going to play him out of position, you felt like there was something to be had there, and it would at least bring some kind of defensive stability to what had been an up and down defensive
Okay, but
outfield.
all of this these semantics now are just sort of proving. I mean, would you say they were one of the 10 worst outfields in baseball last year, combining offense and defense
Yeah,
overall?
it wasn't
It's hard
great.
because you have the portrait of, the first 4 months outfield and the last 2 months outfield, which was
Yeah,
different.
it was different.
Yeah,
It's
they
a good point
finished.
about the semantics, though. Like if we're getting into the details like this, if
It
I'm
means
getting
right.
into the
That means that
details,
there's a
yeah,
lot of, it's not a big difference.
yeah, exactly.
That said, I think I'm with you. I think I'd rather have the 2026 outfield.
Yeah,
And it's only because I guess I'm not buying like that Harrison Bader could do what he did for 2 months over 6 months. And
I
obviously
don't
like
think
he
so.
hasn't signed yet, and like what is that? I mean, that's not just a Phillies thing, right? I
Right,
mean, like,
right.
clearly other teams are looking at it as well and being like, we like you, but we don't love you.
Yeah.
Is this a bottom 10 outfield in baseball? People are calling
No.
it the worst outfield in baseball.
This podcast is brought to you by Avocado Mattress. And if healthy, comfortable sleep matters to you, this is one organic brand worth knowing. That's because what you sleep on actually matters.
Most mattresses rely on synthetic foams and chemical materials that trap heat, break down over time, or off-gas. Avocado does it differently. Their mattresses are handcrafted with natural materials: organic latex, organic wool, and organic cotton. Designed to be naturally cooling, incredibly supportive, and long-lasting. They're certified organic by GOTS and meet multiple non-toxic and safety certifications. Made for people who care about their health and the environment without sacrificing comfort. I love that Avocado proves you don't have to choose between comfortable, supportive sleep and your values. And now you can get up to 15% off all Avocado mattresses. Just go to avocadogreenmattress.com. Get up to 15% off at avocadogreenmattress.com. avocadogreenmattress.com.
Coming into this year, it's going to be no. I don't agree with that.
So I think the bar has certainly been raised on defense.
Yes.
Even if you have questions about Crawford in center, he's going to have really good help on the corners.
It's
And
a great
I think
starting
that's kind
point.
of important for
Yeah.
a young center fielder. Yeah.
Yes.
Just Garcia alone in right field, it's going to be, it's a big upgrade. But here is my issue, Paul. Okay. What happens if one of these guys gets hurt? Have you looked at what is behind them?
Yeah, behind door number 1, it's Johan Rojas, and then door number 2, it's Gabe Rincones, I guess.
Who can't play against lefties. He's a platoon guy, and he's a corner guy, and he's limited defensively. But I think an interesting player. Like, I think he's going to play in the major leagues this year. And
by the way, I neglected to mention the corresponding move for JT's re-signing because the 26-man and 40-man rosters were full. Weston Wilson was designated for assignment. He might be part of this conversation otherwise.
He still could be back.
What's that?
He still could be back on a minor league contract.
Yes, he could be. He could clear waivers. Yes.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as we talk about these candidates.
I mean, like I would be really worried about my outfield situation, not because of the 3 guys that I have going out there, and I understand their desire to see what Justin Crawford is and give him a runway. I get it, totally get it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with a 1-year deal to Adolis Garcia. Fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Marsh in a corner, great. I don't think they've done a good enough job getting him a platoon guy. I mean, again, Otto Kemp, who I think is a fine major league bench player. Certainly not somebody that I would be spending my offseason like hyping up, which they continually do.
Continue to do that. I know.
I'm not really sure. I'm not sure about that. I think he's a big leaguer, which is amazing. He was undrafted, and he's very clearly he's a self-made guy, and I think it's a great story. Uh, I would still be, and there are plenty of guys still to go get to just be a better fourth outfielder. Like I think they need a better fourth outfielder, uh, and I don't know that they're going to do it. I don't know that they're going to do it. I would be really worried about if somebody gets hurt in this outfield, because already we're looking at it, we're squinting, we're like, well, if this happens, if that happens, if this goes right, this could be an average outfield.
And
what happens if things don't go right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Now you have explicitly mentioned in your story about JT from today, there's the Phillies will not be pivoting to Cody Bellinger, who at the moment remains the best remaining bat
Mets
on the market. Yeah. So that is not happening.
Would be very funny if he signs with the Mets, because then the Yankees, talking about a team that hasn't done anything this offseason.
Yeah.
The Yankees signed kind of a major league free agent.
It's a strange one. They reunited with Ryan Yarbrough.
Oh, right. Yeah. Paul Blackburn and Ahmed Rosario. I'm sorry.
They just the Mets and Yankees keep trading guys back and forth. Devin Williams and Luke Weaver go to the Mets, and then anyway. Yes, I see them talking about Otto Kemp the way they do. I see them giving out these signals, and I think communicating different things. It is hard to take them right now, the club, the Phillies, completely at face value, I think, because of the way the Bichette thing came together, because I understood the logic of turning your attention toward him and all of a sudden picking up the slack on a pursuit and thinking like, oh, okay, something may potentially be happening there. But also, we spent the first 2.5 months of this offseason paying no attention to him from the outside. There was no indication that this guy was a target.
I mean, they did good business. I mean, like they saw an opportunity, and I think they pivoted. And while it was disappointing that they did not land him, especially how it unfolded,
I agree.
I think the effort was well intentioned.
Yes, I like the strategy there. I think what becomes difficult for me is the communication about these things has been, at least as far as front office parlance goes, pretty direct and clear, I think. Usually these things are hedged and they're vague, and people tap dance around answering some questions. A lot of the time, Dave Dombrowski has been pretty direct about his goals and his intentions and what his off seasons are basically going to be built around, whether it's the pursuit of a star player or it's the shoring up of a bullpen, or it's, figuring out what to do with an outfield bat, a right-handed outfield bat.
Yeah, I mean, this legitimately was not on there. They did not think this was possible until they made a call around New Year's.
Yeah. And so now it's just, okay, is this really what we're rolling with? And I guess it could be, but there's part of me that feels like it's not. Now, I don't think I don't think, in contradiction to your reporting, that they're going to do anything like, Bellinger or even a tier or two below that. I do agree that they seem mostly done, but I'm leaving the door open for something still. It's not going to inject life the way a Bichette signing would have. It's probably not even going to be on the level of Starlin Caba and Amarian Boyd for Jesus Luzardo like last year. But it would feel incomplete.
That's fine.
It would feel incomplete to me to go into the offseason like this. Like it's fine, but it feels like there's one move missing, whatever that one piece is.
Do you want to? Okay, I want to talk next about the thing that I think they've done right this offseason.
Okay, good. Yes, let's give some
too dour.
Let's give some props. Yes,
I think they've built one of the best bullpens in baseball. And please, before you laugh, I think this is a pretty good bullpen, and it's probably the best bullpen they've had since 2008. I mean, I don't know. It's good. It's really good.
All right.
I think that the top 4 guys, and even if you want to include Tanner Banks to make it 5, are really good.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, they're really good. Duran, Alvarado, Keller, Kerkering, Banks. And I think that if you really want to be honest about things, okay, their last 3 postseason series, spanning 3 years, the 2023 NLCS, the 2024 NLDS, the 2025 NLDS.
Yeah, I know what you're
While
going
the
to say.
offense was certainly at fault and did not deliver enough, the bullpen was just as bad in most of those games. Not all, but most. And I still believe that the 2023 NLCS was lost by the bullpen. And you could argue the 2024 NLDS was lost by the bullpen. Maybe less so in 2025. Although the pitch to Oscar Hernandez by Matt Strom, man, I mean, like, it changed the series. Like, there's plenty of things that changed that series. That was one of them. That's on the list. That's in the top 5.
Yep.
Uh,
I agree.
is this bullpen bulletproof? No, certainly not.
None of them are.
I think that they've just done a really good job adding live arms, depth, competition, different profiles. Like, they made it a priority, and after not doing enough of it last offseason, they have delivered here. And I think that this is a unit that will be one of the biggest reasons why, if they have success in 2026.
One of the things that can really sneak by you, and has snuck by me too, because I kind of need to have reminders like that, like you just said, put as forcefully as that. Because I do, when I actually take a look at these names, I do actually agree with you, even though it lacks what you call quote unquote star power, right? Outside of Duran, and having a full season of him on its own is already going to be huge. Alvarado is something of a question mark after the way last season went. Totally get that. Brad Keller is a latecomer to the scene, but a lot of what he did last year, if you ask people who are really in the weeds about, pitch shapes and zone rates and a lot of the things that really go into a pitcher's success on a more granular level, they say, well, yeah, he can do it again. Like, there was very little that was a fluke about what he did. Kerkering is still only going to be 25, and I know he has been up and down. He didn't make the leap last year like I was hoping for and almost expecting, but he's still got plenty of time to make more of a leap and be better than he was last year when he was fine. And Tanner Banks, of course, is one of the unsung heroes of this whole group. He's very quietly effective. And I think those top 5 have, they made Matt Strom somewhat expendable. I argued a month or so ago, that keeping Matt Strom really would help with the depth here. But in trading him to the Royals, they got back another guy who could very well be interesting in his own right. He's outside that top 5, but
be a mid reliever.
Yeah. Jonathan Bolin, who, is a little bit older, but who carries some of that granular intrigue. He hasn't really shown it at the major league level yet, but there's reason to be curious. There's a major league deal for Zach Pop, who has pitched a lot in the major leagues.
Non-guaranteed split
non-guaranteed,
deal. Yeah.
No options. And then the Rule 5
they've
picks,
added a bunch of guys. Yeah, and they added optional righties and lefties, Bacchus, Cure. There's just a lot they added. Now, I just want to take this moment to remind you, Paul, at this time last year, the Phillies, this was their opening day roster, opening day bullpen. Their right-handed relievers were Kerkering, Romano, Ross, Ruiz, Carlos Hernandez.
That is a list of names.
And, like, it's just better. Like, and it's not just better. It's better by a lot.
It's better by a lot.
Better by a lot.
Yes, it is.
Adding, essentially replacing Romano with Duran and Jose Ruiz with Brad Keller to make Kerkering now your third best righty. It's just better. It's way better. And I do think that we have probably underplayed this, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Their bullpen is a lot better. And I think it's going to help them win quite a bit.
I almost wonder, I don't want to be too prescriptive here, but if I were to look in the crystal ball, last season was carried so much by the rotation. The rotation did so much work to help keep this team atop the division, really carried him into the playoffs on a high note, and was the strength of the team. They did everything they could in the Dodgers series. They were fantastic all year. Now, with some questions in that unit's depth and wonders about, okay, how good is Andrew Painter going to be in year 1? How soon can Zach Wheeler come back, and what's he going to look like? How far back can Aaron Nola bounce?
You want to get to my next pressure point?
Yeah, well, I was just to wrap that up. I was going to say it's nice to have a deeper bullpen to hopefully absorb a little bit of that because the rotation, Chris Sanchez, fantastic. Jesus Luzardo, if he stays healthy, fantastic. The rest of it, there's a lot of questions. So having a deeper bullpen could help cushion that. Now, your pressure point?
Right now the Phillies don't have a fourth or fifth starter for opening day.
Explain.
I mean, I don't know. Right now they have 3 starters that are healthy and guaranteed to be in the rotation. Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola.
You wouldn't guarantee Walker to start the year?
I don't know. I mean, what if he's not very good in spring training? Is he guaranteed a rotation spot? I mean, I guess.
I would think for April, yeah. I mean,
okay, sure.
You got to tread water until Wheeler can come back, and you figure
okay.
he's not going to be ready for the start of the season.
Of course, but this is what we're getting to my point here, which is I just I don't think they've done enough with the rotation, and obviously, you've lost 157 innings in Ranger Suarez,
yeah,
and is it as simple as Nola and Painter combining to fill those innings? Because Nola only pitched 94 and a third last year. Sure, it might be. Maybe they get better Nola, league average Nola, a little better than league average Nola.
Really, really could use that this year.
And they get quality, competent Painter, who makes 24 starts in the majors next year.
I'd be happy with that, yeah.
Maybe that's where all the innings come from. Maybe not. I mean, there is nothing behind those 5. And I'm not counting Wheeler yet. And I do, Wheeler, by all accounts, again, is going to be pushing it, right? I mean, he wants to pitch quickly.
Yeah.
He's out to 90 feet. He's playing long toss. He will be behind all the other pitchers in camp. But how far behind? I don't know. I don't know. Paul, I just I don't know. I really don't know about this rotation. And as you mentioned, I mean, has been their strength again and again and again. And they've become really adept at keeping these guys mostly on the mound and effective. And it just feels like something. I'm not saying it's unsustainable, but it just feels like something that one day they're going to look up and be like, we don't have enough starters.
It has felt like something of a bonus how healthy and how effective in that health so many Phillies starters have been through the last couple of years. It's not universal. Obviously, we saw it with Nola. Ranger, like you mentioned, hasn't pitched, he's never reached 200, let alone 170, 175 innings. But for the most part, these guys have been able to take the bump. There's been a lot of stability in there.
Yeah, and they only used, only 6 guys made more than 10 starts for them last year.
Yeah, and you look at the guys who are currently on the depth chart for rotation possibilities, and it's always hard because that group is never meant to be a group of guys that you expect to slot in immediately as number 2 or number 3 major league starting pitchers. You need guys who can pitch in AAA, who ideally have an option, who you can bring up when you need to.
Yeah, my bar is would you feel comfortable with this man being your 5th starter for 6 weeks?
Yeah. And the guys who are currently...
Does anyone meet that bar right now?
The guys who are currently in AAA is... It is tough to say any of those names confidently merit that label.
They all would be fine spot starters.
Yeah.
Right? If you had to call up one of these guys for a start or two turns, fine. If you need one of these guys to be your 5th starter for a month, for 4 to 6 weeks, no.
I will say, just as a complete aside, Chuck King has to make the majors at some point.
I
We need a
got bad
guy
news
named
for you.
Chuck
I
King
don't know
as a
if that
pitcher.
seems like
Anyway.
a long shot, but
Anyway, no, your concerns are right on. I like the moves that they have made. Joniel Correa, Tucker Davidson, Adam Seminaris.
Correa's going to be a reliever.
Okay, well,
yeah,
that pokes a little bit of a hole in that too. I mean, you have the thought then of Gene Cabrera maybe making his major league debut, a guy who has historically been undersized and has concerns of his own. We saw Alan Ronhell in relief last year. No idea what he could be as a starter, really, for any extended period of time. Davidson has experience. He's got a little over 2 years major league experience with the Braves
Fine
and
depth.
Angels. Yeah, like he's good as depth. Bringing him over from the KBO, I thought that was a nice move. And then there's just there's so much uncertainty. It will be tough if they sustain really even one, but especially multiple significant injuries to the rotation.
I mean, what happens if somebody gets dinged up in spring training?
Yep.
Like who's the fifth guy here? Because we're assuming Wheeler's not ready.
Yep.
Like who's the fifth guy? There is no guy. Like I think this is like dangerously thin. And we're saying this with 3 weeks to pitchers and catchers. Okay. So I fully understand that between now and then there will be a few more minor league contracts. Like I'm certain of that. I just feel like while the roster as a whole, I think I maybe I'm skipping ahead here, Paul, but like I don't think they are better. I don't think that they're that much worse. It was always going to be hard for them to be better simply because they had so many free agents of their own.
Sure.
And they weren't going to re-sign every single guy. They weren't going to re-sign Schwarber, Realmuto, and Suarez, and Bader. They weren't going to re-sign all four of those guys. They're four best free agents. They just weren't. Ranger Suarez got $130 million for a reason. I mean, he had a market, a really good one. And they just weren't going to meet that. That said, I don't know that they've done a good enough job of backfilling. And their weaknesses, I feel like, are more vulnerable, specifically the rotation and the outfield. I just really look at it and say, like, if there's an injury here to either one of those units, I don't know if they're getting replacement level. I really don't. And for me, that's why I think, as a whole, I have to sit here and say that not only have they not gotten better this offseason, I think that their weaknesses are a little more exposed.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This podcast is brought to you by Avocado Mattress. And if healthy, comfortable sleep matters to you, this is one organic brand worth knowing. That's because what you sleep on actually matters.
Most mattresses rely on synthetic foams and chemical materials that trap heat, break down over time, or off-gas. Avocado does it differently. Their mattresses are handcrafted with natural materials, organic latex, organic wool, and organic cotton, designed to be naturally cooling, incredibly supportive, and long-lasting. They're certified organic by GOTS and meet multiple non-toxic and safety certifications. Made for people who care about their health and the environment without sacrificing comfort. I love that Avocado proves you don't have to choose between comfortable, supportive sleep and your values. And now you can get up to 15% off all Avocado mattresses. Just go to avocadogreenmattress.com. Get up to 15% off at avocadogreenmattress.com. avocadogreenmattress.com.
Okay, so then let's think ahead a little bit and say,
Do you agree?
well, well, I do think that depth could be exposed very quickly. I do think they're walking a very, very thin tightrope, probably thinner than the last couple of years when the depth in their own right was not fantastic. I guess then my question, and I don't know if you have an answer to this, but my question then becomes, what is the contingency? Because there are a lot of viable major league starting caliber names still available as free agents as we record right now. It all depends on what these guys would be willing to accept as deals, what the Phillies are willing to offer as deals. You know, some guys might need to ramp up. Maybe they try and time it that way. I don't know. But there are a lot of viable arms available who could sop up some innings in the
Like
event of an emergency.
Who are you? Yeah, I mean, who catches your eye here? Who's your guy?
I mean, again, this is absent knowing what these guys want in a deal, what their markets look like, all of that stuff. But names that pop out to me as guys who could be fine, totally fine as, you know, low rung starters. Let's say Chris Bassett. Let's say
You're giving major league contracts out.
If that's what it comes to, maybe.
I mean, yes. Well, yes. Chris Bassett's going to sign a major league contract.
Yeah. I don't have a great answer, which is, I think is why I'm asking the question. I'm trying to figure out where the sweet spot is here, because there are names at the very least.
Sweet spot is convincing someone to take minor league contract.
Yeah, maybe that's it, right? Is that like Tyler Anderson? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, because they can't sign another starter really to a major league contract because of Taijuan Walker. Like, he's already your kind of swing guy, and you're paying him $18 million in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you sign a guy that bumps Walker to the bullpen as like a long guy again, as your sort of swing guy, your emergency starter.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now the bullpen's getting a little crowded in terms of like not being able to option anybody or shuffle guys in and out. And I think they do want like two spots to be able to be shuffled.
Okay.
For lack of a better word.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I don't know. But maybe this is what they have to do. I mean, maybe this is how they build a depth. If I can't have it both ways here. If I like what their bullpen depth is, then I'm okay stashing some of it at AAA. I move Walker to the bullpen to start the year as a long reliever, and I'm signing someone in the $8 to $10 million range to be my fifth starter. But man, it just doesn't feel like a very great use of my resources.
Yeah,
what's the solution? Is they get to July and end up trading more prospects for an outfielder or a starting pitcher.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's probably what we're looking at, right? Instead of a bullpen arm,
we're looking at. Yeah,
it's probably rotation. I don't know. As I look more at this list, I'm thinking like guys who have not been good the last couple of years, like Austin
Walker Buehler.
He's still unsigned. He's still out there. Cal Quantrill, who the Phillies, I think, absolutely beat up when he was with the Braves last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you try to get one of these guys to take a minor league contract.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Here's one question: the Phillies are not trying to do with Taijuan Walker what they're doing with Nick Castellanos. There's no attempt to move Taijuan at this point, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so that sounds like if the right situation came along, then they would be open to it. But there's
correct. I think the complication there is that when you start looking at the current free agent list, I mean, there are a lot of like Taijuan-esque guys who have not been signed. And there's a lot of starting pitchers who have not signed contracts.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're kind of banking on one of these guys liking their situation, saying, like we're saying, looking at the rotation picture, be like, yeah, like only one or two things has to go wrong for me to be in the Philadelphia Phillies rotation by, late April, and agreeing to a minor league contract. I don't know. I don't know if that's foolish or not, but you look at the list, Paul, and like there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that have not signed, and some of these guys will get major league contracts and will have guaranteed rotation jobs. I think it's a matter of, uh, finding someone who doesn't and who's willing to go to AAA.
You know what would be fun if we get a revisit of 2009 Pedro Martinez with like Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer.
Well, neither of them are going to AAA.
I know. At this point, I'm just like, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't.
Imagine Max Scherzer pitching for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
In one of their like specialty uniforms with the bacon on the front, like the piping. Oh, that would be great. That jersey,
he gets a full billing on Pork Illustrated, the in-stadium program.
That jersey would sell so well. Are you kidding me? I might be tempted to get a Max Scherzer Iron Pigs bacon jersey. Anyway, I that's basically the situation the Phillies are at right now, right? It's
yes. Now I want to hear your side of this. I mean, like, did they get better?
I think they held serve. I think the optimistic parts of this roster, the things that I would look for as, either unrealized potential or bounce back seasons from 25 to 26, can and should help offset what they have lost in other places. It is not going to look the same. It is not going to function the same. But I think a lot of what they've built can handle this. Now, the concerns that we've talked about over the last few minutes are completely valid and could undo this whole thing very quickly. The depth, as it has been in spots for the last couple of years, tenuous. I think a lot of it hinges on health again. And with a roster that is increasing in average age, that becomes more of a thing to worry about. It does. These guys are not going to stay fully healthy forever, more than likely. And if you're leaving yourself open to, pitfalls like these, then yeah, that could undo your season. We all saw what happened with the Braves last year. That was a season from hell, and you hope the Phillies don't suffer even half or a quarter of what the Braves went through injury-wise. I can't believe I'm feeling sympathetic for the Braves, but I am. Then, that probably means bad things, and they fall short of their expected wins, right? The low 90s, high 80s, whatever it is. I feel good about Aaron Nola looking more like recent Aaron Nola than 2025 Aaron Nola when he was very bad. I have no reason to doubt that last year was the fluke, standing out among the rest of his career when he's been healthy and durable. And the reason he got the current contract that he has, because he is available. I think he will bounce back. I like Jesus Luzardo to be available. I expect him to maybe miss a little time. I like Chris Sanchez. I think the offense is just good enough that if the pitching side stays healthy, they will be fine. Those are big ifs, but what they've currently built gives me a lot of confidence that they can redo something similar to what they did last year, even if a few wins less. I'm still looking for like a 90 to 92 win team right now.
Here's a crazy thought. What if they got contributions from a rookie?
What
meaningful, real contributions from a rookie?
What if?
I think that, I guess, like, a lot of what we've discussed for this lengthy episode at this point now, I think can be traced back to, if we really want to simplify it, can be traced back to one thing, and that is development and lack thereof. They haven't been able to backfill because they haven't developed it internally.
Yeah.
And now we do think, whether it works or not, they are going to have to use some of these younger guys. Crawford, obviously, the most likely example of that, but Painter and Miller and Rincones and Kemp, if you want to count them, are also examples of that. And Paul, I keep coming back to this, unfortunately. I'm just looking at hitters. Okay. Rookie Phillies hitters.
Oh no. Oh no.
who have been worth, by baseball reference measurements, who have been worth one win, one WAR.
Oh no.
Okay, as a rookie
Oh, okay.
since 2020,
Yeah.
it's two guys.
Oh man.
It's Johan Rojas, who was, as a rookie was pretty good. I mean, he only had 59 games and 164 plate appearances, and Bryson Stott in 2022 as a rookie, and a lot of that was, I mean, he had a 295 on base percentage. A lot of that was just that he played a lot and he played a good defense. He played a good shortstop.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I mean, like,
That's really bad. It's really bad.
before that,
really
it was Adam Hazley had
Ugh.
1.8 BWAR in 2019. He did have a good rookie year. I kind of forget about that. What happened? Adam Hazley. That's a guy I've thought about in a while.
Yeah. All right.
They just, it feels like such a foreign concept to Phillies fans. Like, you see all these young players coming up across the league, and you're like, wow, like, that's cool. Like, the Phillies are never going to have that because
Other
they just don't do that.
Churn them out. They churn them out. It is an assembly line with so many of these other teams. I feel like every other team has debuted at least, in that same time period, like 10 guys who are 25 or younger who have played some kind of significant role in a season, even if it hasn't been star level or long lasting. They've just found, look at what Milwaukee did last year, bringing guys out of nowhere. Were we ever talking about Caleb Durbin and Isaac Collins before last year? No. But they were able to produce these guys who were above league average out of nowhere. They could just conjure these guys up, and they played significant parts of a division title winning team that made it to the NLCS. They just did it. It just happened. To say nothing of what the Brewers do on the pitching side too. That was just two guys on offense. It has been frustrating to watch other teams do with relative ease what it seems like it takes the Phillies Herculean effort to accomplish.
So there's been 146 position players since 2020 who, as rookies, have had a 1-win season.
126?
146.
146, and the Phillies have
two.
two.
The Phillies have had two of them. That's wild.
A robust 0.6% or whatever the heck that is, a 1.6, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Like, it's just not good enough. I understand that some of the trades that they have made have brought back guys who have played significant roles, right? Like, there has been some of that. There's been exporting. Not a whole lot on the outfield side, really, if we narrow it down to that. I don't know. They traded Mickey Moniak away a few years ago at this point, and I don't know, when was the last outfield prospect they traded after that? I'm having a hard time thinking of this off the top of my head because I'm frustrated now. But it is the kind of thing that I'm glad this team can spend its way around that. But we're
seeing why we're now seeing it's catching up to them. It's catching up to them.
Yes,
and that's also, I think, contributed, Paul, to this overall general feeling of like fatigue,
malaise.
Right?
Yeah.
And so everything that we have discussed in the last hour can be rectified, not completely, and it's putting a lot on these guys, and I don't think it's fair, but I'm saying that they could rectify some of the fatigue by getting unexpected, or at this point I guess it has to be expected, but unexpected contributions from younger players.
Yes.
And Crawford, Miller, and Painter, if we're being honest, like, they probably need two of those guys to be contributors. I'm not saying stars. I'm not saying even above average regulars. I'm just saying contributors.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it works without that. I guess it works, but I'm not sure that the offseason works without expecting that from two of those guys in
I
2026.
and I think that's an important counter perspective to this whole thing, is that this is the Phillies' best shot in the last few years of actually injecting some of that, quote, new life. There is a chance that three guys this season, a very good chance that three guys this season will play some significant part in the 2026 season for the Phillies. Crawford is probably breaking camp with the team as a starting center fielder.
I
Andrew
mean, he
Painter,
absolutely is.
yeah,
Like, I don't know,
Andrew
barring
Painter is
injury, like
all that's left is like the ink drying or the transaction being typed into the database. Andrew Painter is not far behind, whether he starts in Lehigh or whatever.
I mean, probably has to start the year in the rotation since they don't have anybody else.
Right. And then, Aiden Miller in the summer at some point. There you go. There's three guys.
Our first major injury in the infield.
Yeah.
Miller.
So that's the other side of it. There is hope that they have three shots at getting a little bit of that fresh blood in there. At the very least, I know I've spent a lot of time saying Crawford is polarizing and this, that, and the other thing. I'm starting to prep my mind and my fanhood to get fully behind him to come into this year, because I'm focusing on the positive aspects of what he can bring to this. The speed is game changing. He is a really, really fast dude.
Well, I mean, I'd say the idea of Crawford is like fun. It's like a lot of fun.
Yes.
Because he's not, he's different. He's different than a lot of what they have. And he could be fun. A lot of fun. Energizing, even.
Yes. And if he's batting ninth, as we expect he will for a lot of the time to start the year.
Correct.
All right. Not a ton of pressure down there. You can kind of stick whoever you want down there to get acclimated to the big leagues. In a DH league, just get his feet wet down there. That's fine. Take your time, figure out what you got, let him get acclimated to the league. There's going to be growing pains with these guys. I fully expect that. Let him do it down there. Let him figure out center field, get used to the Major League Park's dimensions and feel, get used to Major League pitching, taking,
he's
fewer.
He's probably going to lead the Grapefruit League in at-bats.
Yeah, I imagine he'll get a lot of run and near the top of the order just to make sure he gets those looks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm choosing to look at it as an exciting thing because he does offer new things. He offers something that this team hasn't really seen a lot of lately, plus speed from the left side, supreme athleticism. Trey Turner is obviously an incredible athlete, but he is now approaching his mid-30s. The Phillies did not have the prime of Trey's athleticism, even though he is still very athletic. He is not on the level of early 20s Justin Crawford in that regard. So there will be things that Crawford brings to the table that this lineup, this team hasn't really experienced much of in a while.
The counter to all this is like, what happens if these guys just aren't ready? And that's not a crazy what if, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So,
and I think the short answer is they fight for a playoff spot. They fight very hard for a playoff spot.
Yes. I think that's right.
But if that's the floor, honestly,
yeah. As I say, my next question was going to be, am I too dour for you?
No. I think we get ragged on a little bit gently. This is not the overwhelming consensus. We get ragged on a little bit for focusing, I think, on either what could go wrong or the things that are, worth pointing out as possible Achilles heels or things that could hold this team back, because they are worth pointing out a lot of the time. We don't want to just spend a lot of time talking about how things might be bad, because that's not good radio, and B, that's really not always how we look at this team and at this sport.
No, but this time of year, I'll say this is how front offices this time of year tend to try to think about things.
Yeah.
It's not thinking about the rosiest outcome. It's like trying to prepare ourselves for everything that could go wrong, and how prepared are we? If this happens, then what do we do? If that happens, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I think that's the role of a good front office, is you're trying to look at this and be like, where are our most vulnerable points and how can we make them better?
Yeah, that's good business. That's good roster management.
That said, I just don't think they did enough this offseason. I don't. And that's not to say that they didn't. Dave Dombrowski had a line which I'm certain I haven't looked. I'm sure he's getting absolutely crushed for on social media, and it's funny, but he's like, people forget that we re-signed Schwartz, and like, no, like I don't know that people forget that, but it's just certainly over. Could you say that it may be overlooked? Maybe, sure. I just thought it was funny,
Yeah.
and I. They spent money this offseason. They signed 3 guys to multi-year contracts, which they did none of last offseason. They spent money. It's not like they sat around and didn't do anything. It's not like right now the Yankees where they signed 3 guys to 1-year deals.
It's true. Look, if the floor that we're talking about is they're fighting for a playoff berth, that's with things going wrong. It is a good spot to be in. There is work to be done, and they could use a little bit more reinforcement. But people are going to get sick of me saying this, and I will say it for as long as it remains true. This is still a good team, and I expect them to be good, even with the moves that have been made. They could do a little bit more to make me feel better about saying that, but this is still a good team. It is. And that's just, at the end of the day, I see it as a high floor Major League Baseball team. Exciting? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe a lot of us are frustrated by the shortfalls in the playoffs and knowing what, did them in, whether it was the offense or the bullpen or what have you over the last couple of years. And a lot of those faces are returning. I get that. But there's unfinished business, both in terms of this team making it to and winning a World Series, but also in a bit of a development lens and maybe thinking about how some of these additions could be that backfill for what they've lost from 2025. Is it incomplete? Yeah, I think that argument is very valid, holds a lot of water. But what they've got at the top level right now, good Major League team. And just one more thing on that too, I think to let the frustration with the relative sameness and I guess relative inactivity, although it's not really that, related to this team overtake you and think about it through the lens of falling short in the playoffs the last couple of years, is a case of not appreciating baseball for its season length and how many times a team goes through all of this. The best teams will lose 60 times, and you can't get to a point where you let something like what we're experiencing now, this frustration, this general, whether it's anxiety or malaise or whatever name you want to put to it, take over and let it cloud you from enjoying what should be another good regular season. And then the playoffs are going to happen, and we'll see what happens from there. Because I expect
you already got them in the playoffs.
I expect this team to be back. And that's how I got to operate until health or crazy across the board performance drops prove otherwise.
Make sure this gets clipped.
I'm sure it will. Why do you think I hedge so much of my language? I'm so afraid of the clips. Anyway, I will enjoy this for what it is, because this is, as we were talking about in the Discord today, this is comfortably one of the 3 best stretches of time in this franchise's history.
Totally.
I mean, bracket that over whatever year range you want.
Really disparaging the 1915. That was bracketed by a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Look,
I forget my Phillies history here.
Well, when you're talking 111 years ago, I think you can be forgiven, because I don't remember it either. Grover Cleveland Alexander.
That was a pretty good stretch. They finished first or second 3 years in a row, which for them was pretty good back then.
Yeah, especially back then. This is really good. This is good baseball, and this is a good baseball team, and they will be bad again in our lifetimes, and we will pine for this. Just try and enjoy it. Just try. I know the playoffs the last couple of years have sucked. This team has the talent to win it, and they have fallen short. But it should be a good summer of baseball, and I think as long as this team stays healthy and plays like you expect them to, as currently constructed, that it should be another good season that ends in a playoff berth. We'll take it from there.
Well, I'll talk to you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, right. Nothing more expected.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. Maybe,
but probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, I think they'll. Do they sign another player to a major league contract this offseason?
Oh, man.
Over under a half.
I don't know. I'll say over just for a pitcher.
I'll say under.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Under? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it goes. Again, I know it's ending on kind of like a slow
We didn't get to a real
off-ramp here.
conclusion here.
I think they didn't need to improve as much as I would have been totally fine if they had improved more. Obviously, I always am. I don't think they had a really high bar to clear this offseason. I think they've done what they needed to do to stay very relevant, very competitive, and favored even in their division by what they've done this offseason.
I think that's a reasonable take.
You come in a little bit short of that?
A little short. Yeah, a little short.
Yeah.
But also, I think that even with signing Bo Bichette, I think the Mets are worse right now than they were when they ended the season.
They have a lot of questions on that roster.
The Braves are slightly better, I think. Just roster. I'm not even counting health, but I'm counting,
Right. I just figure half their team won't explode like they did last year. The Braves just should be better by default.
Sure. Yeah.
But the Phillies were good anyway. The Phillies at their best can absolutely.
And rightfully, I
hang
think
with
they're
those
still favored, to win the division. I think that is the way it should be.
There you go. All right.
Whereas this time last year, we were saying, Braves are clearly the favorite. Phillies, Mets are, by, neck and neck for second and third.
Oh, fond memories, huh?
But I was saying I didn't think the gap should be that big between the Phillies and the Braves.
That's true. And you obviously crushed that one. It was that big, just in the other direction. All right. So we're going to end on that high note, I think. Higher note. Kind of a strange offseason. Falls short of a lot of expectations of, even if you're not looking for a big move, just not really much in the way of creativity. The one big push toward that fell apart and landed in the lap of a division rival, even though that Bo Bichette contract is going to be discussed and used as something of an example in conversation, I think, for a few years.
The alternate reality, the alternate universe will never stop being fascinating, right? I mean, because we'll always have this sort of point in time where you can have a little fun with the what ifs.
Yeah. Bo Bichette is now the Frank Gore of the Philadelphia Phillies.
The Patrick Corbin.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. There we go. That's it. We're over an hour on this one. Matt, as we get set to wrap up this episode, I know you and Charlotte both had write-ups from the Realmuto Dombrowski media availability today.
Yeah, mine was, I'll have something else this week, to this idea that we discussed here, just sort of trying to unpack, this offseason. And
excellent.
Did they get better? And
excellent.
Just kind of going into different stuff. And I
dig into that. If you want more, you out there, all of you, feel free to hop on the Patreon so you can get access to the Discord. We've had a huge influx, really, of new people over the last couple of weeks. We've grown by 10% just in the last week and a half alone. Come on over and join us. Patreon.com/Phillies Therapy. It's nice and cheap, $5 a month. You can get in and talk with the rest of the sickos, use our Chipwich emojis, do all that fun stuff. Get in on the inside jokes, I think, is basically what I'm selling here. Come on and join us and talk ball. Other than that, no guarantee that we record next week. It's probably about to be a bit of a slowdown period. We'll see how things go between now and when pitchers and catchers report. We'll definitely have something, early in February at the very least. Stay posted. We'll keep you in the loop. And I think we'll just take it from there. So thank you, everybody, for listening once again. This has been Phillies Therapy, part of the Believe Podcast Network. For Matt, I am Paul, and we will talk to you again next time.